Well, hello, and welcome to our Monday Live. I'm so excited to have you here. We're going to be talking all about how to attract clients instead of stress. If you can see me and hear me, let me know. My name is Amanda Kaufman, and I am the founder of the Coaches Plaza, which is the community that I started to help coaches just like me to be more effective, but also more bold in attracting their clients. So we've taught coaching skills client acquisition for coaching skills for, oh gosh, getting close to 7 years. Kind of unofficially, super officially, 6 years. We've been teaching coaches how to go about creating offers that are irresistible, how to have high quality conversations with people that they definitely want to serve. And I mean, it's been a trip, man. I've done all kinds of things myself in my own business, testing a whole bunch of things, worked with a lot of clients privately as they tested different things. And it's been quite a fun ride. And today we're going to be talking about how to attract clients, not stress. How to attract clients, not stress, building a coaching business that aligns with your values. And if you didn't know, I go live every single Monday, 9 a.m. Central. So you can go ahead and pop that on your calendar. And the thing is that I really wanted to do this live today, this one specifically, because have you ever heard of that little story about the little duckling that's walking around on the farm? It's lost its mama. So it walks up to the cow and it says, "Are you my mother?" And the cow says, "Moo, no." And the little duckling goes along to the pig and says, "Hey, are you my mother?" And the pig's like, "Oink, no, I'm not your mother." So this poor little duckling is wandering all around the farmyard looking for his mama, but he clearly is like asking non-ducks. It's a cute story. I'm a mom. What can I say? I love these little cute stories. But the thing is that I know what it feels like to start your coaching business or start your company or start something new and just kind of feel like that duckling. Like, are you my client? Are you my client? And this is where like a lot of coaches are stuck. They're either finding themselves talking to a lot of people who are just not a really great fit for saying yes right now to something like coaching, or they are just scared of rejection to begin with. So they're having a hard time getting out there and doing the thing. I'm Canadian, so I say out. Just kidding. Oh my gosh, I'm in a bit of a mood today. Say hello if you're here. So, I just remember that little duckling feeling of wandering around as like, are you my client? Are you safe? Are you good? Are you my client? And I would just also at the same time just feel all this freak out, really, that I had maybe made the wrong choice about becoming a coach. I saw all these beautiful coaches, all these pretty people that were so put together, and they seemed so confident. And I was like, mesmerized, honestly mesmerized by how confident a lot of coaches were when I started nearly 8 years ago, that were doing like 7 figures and all these amazing things. And then I would kind of look around in the coaching certifications that I was in, and it was like opposite land, man. Like most of the coaches that I was, no disrespect, but I mean, if you were there, you were part of the conversation. It's like all this fear that you're doing it wrong. How many times have I heard a coach say, "I hate social media"? And I'm like, you understand that social media is using media to be social and that coaching is ultimately a relationship, right? I didn't understand that at first either. So like, I totally get it. This fear of rejection is like crazy, crazy powerful. It causes a lot of stress. And what I'm really excited about talking about today is like one of the top ways to build a coaching business that is not stressful is to build one that's aligned to your values. And, if I could just turn back time, I would have just whispered that into my ear like way earlier on, like, "Hey girl, there's not a one way to be a human. So why do you think there's just a one way to be a coach or a coaching business?" And being frank with you, I had a really limited social circle. Like I still am a pretty private person, very introverted. And so when I wanted to do something like go into a service-based business like coaching, um, the biggest thing, the real biggest thing for me was being okay with meeting people, talking to people, fitting with people so that I could coach people. It honestly took me like a year, around $24,000 of investments and training for me to just sort of realize I'm like, oh, coaching is a relationship. Relationships have beginnings, middles, and ends. I just need to figure that out, right? And it took me a little bit of time to do that. So this live stream is really perfect for you if you are building a coaching business and you want to feel way more confident about who you're working with, way more confident that there are millions of people who want to get support and presently are getting either no support, the wrong support, etc. So this is perfect for you if you're kind of finding yourself doubting yourself in building an expert-based business or a coaching business consulting company. And it's really all about attracting clients authentically and getting out of the stress, right? So there, and by the way, I want to qualify this because I'm a nerd. I'm a bit of a science nerd. Let me know if you're a nerd too. Check out my books, nightstand for all the books that I've got on there, right? There's actually two kinds of stress. Okay, so there's distress, which is when you're scared, right? Like that's when you're really scared, you're anxious, you're avoidant, you find yourself procrastinating a lot. Is because your fight, flight, and freeze is being activated. So that's an example of distress. The other kind of stress that actually, I want you to figure out a way to activate, baby, is eustress. Not as in you are stressed, but eustress, EU stress. And what's the difference? Well, the difference is between like finding a roller coaster ride absolutely terrifying, distress, or finding it completely exhilarating, eustress, right? So I love to remember this little Mandaism. By the way, Mandaisms are like little words, little quotes, little reminders that I've just collected over the years, and the one is the difference between stress and excitement is breath. So have you noticed like when you're really excited and exhilarated, you're like, and then you go and have like a really amazing time. But when you're scared, you like forget the breathing part. When I was starting out and I was doing a lot of like networking and connection and just kind of trying to do all the things. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But when I was trying to do all the things, I was so stressed. I swear to you, I barely breathed. Like I was using the top 10% of the capacity of my lungs most of the time because my breath was really quick. It was really shallow. And, not to nerd some more, but when you do that, your brain gets dumber. So if I was excited by social connection, then I would have lots of oxygen. I'd be thinking clearly. I'd be able to see clearly whether somebody's vibing with me or not. But when I was in high distress with it, I was like socially so dumb, because I would miss social cues. I was in my head. I was like just a mess. And I really want to help you with not only being way more confident. I got cards today. I'm so excited about my cards. I want you to be way more confident in talking to people about your business, whether you're looking for clients, whether you're looking for collaborative partners, whether you're looking for referral partners, whether you're looking for somebody to support you. Like I had a lot of support on my come up to building a online based business that has regular client flow. But even that stressed me out. Is this resonating? Am I like too stressy on a Monday? Let me know. But like I would freak out about whether I was making the right decisions with my coaches or making the right decisions with team members eventually. And I'm here to tell you, it's a mess when you're in stress. It's a mess when you're in stress because you do literally make dumber decisions. It is it's science, you guys. And I don't want you to feel dumb. So let's keep going. I'm really pumped for today's little seshy sesh. And I'm just checking on our friends on the Book of Face. Hello. Nice to see you. I know they seem to put together, right, Jason? My gosh. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper in. We're going to talk today about how to By the way, I started doing notes for these live streams. Life changed. Stop thinking you have to keep everything in your head. Okay. So we're going to talk today about how to connect with clients in a way that feels natural and aligned to your values. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Second thing is we're going to talk about the key to crafting messages that attract people who truly appreciate you and your work. I know. And we're going to do practical steps that you can take today to start building more genuine relationships with ideal people who could potentially be your clients. So like, let me know, by the way, in the chat, are you more of an introvert or are you more of an extrovert, right? Or if you're like super nerdy on all the things, maybe you're an ambivert. Let me know in the chat because that'll help me tailor what we're talking about. Hey, Spring. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. So good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. When I first started, I was trying like everything that I could think of. And in some ways, I'm so grateful for that because I'm like the try guys of coaching, you know, like I've tried webinars, I've tried Facebook ads, I've tried funnels, I've tried video sales letters, I've tried cold calling, I've tried networking, I've even tried like in-person events and like doing event tables and the whole thing, like literally so many things. And, you know, I just felt like I was spinning my wheels though, you know, and shout a Y in the chat or smash a heart if you've ever felt like that. And I'd see other coaches with these thriving businesses and it was hashtag crazy annoying because it felt like this is not true, but it felt like they just go live on Instagram or something and all of a sudden they've made like so many client connections, so many people who are like, oh my God, I want a session from you. And I was like, you know, I was like that jealous girl, you know, I was like not about it. I didn't love it. So I tried copying at first, you know, and then to make myself feel better, I called it modeling. I tried modeling what they were doing and none of it just felt natural, you know. And I mean, we're on social media, so I totally understand if you don't respond to this, but do you have a friend who has maybe tried to model things and it just crashed and burned? Like it just wasn't good, you know? And it wasn't good because one, it didn't work. And two, it felt icky and it didn't feel right. And it didn't feel like it was your best self. So I think there was like a series of realization aha moments. Have you ever had one of those kind of like that beautiful string of pearls of wisdom that just kind of come together one day into a gorgeous necklace and you're like, oh, the answer. That's kind of what happened. This was like a big buildup, right? Because it was a lot of little disappointments along the way. And then, you know, I'm a journaler, so I would journal and I would reflect on these things that happen. And one day it all just kind of connected. And I got this moment of clarity that I wasn't just after a client, you know, because you know what? And here's the truth. I came from a corporate background where I had clients literally brought to me. Like they literally flew me to go to those clients. So I didn't come into this with this like belief that it's like, oh, you know, like I'm going to have to go hunting for a client, you know, like Elmer Fudd. I know that there's ways to be employed and paid really, really well and have clients just like brought to you. You don't even need that to be a thing. And I was like, so then why do I want to be an entrepreneur? Why do I want to be a coach? And then I realized, because I want to feel connected to my clients. I want to feel connected to you. And because that was like the difference. When my clients were served up to me as a consultant, I didn't get a choice. Right? It's just like, okay, here's the relationship and now you've got to make it good. So I didn't feel like I was in my highest alignment. I didn't feel like I knew what to do. I could go through the motions, but I didn't really feel like it was the right person, right? And when I realized that connection's actually one of my super highest social values, you know, we could talk about values all day, but I realized that what I really wanted is I wanted to work with people who value what I do, but also value our relationship and are kind and amazing. and they value what I offer, and they're not just like feeling burdened by my presence. Is this resonating for anybody? Is that you too? Right? So that realization that connection was so important to me, I just shifted my approach. I was like, okay, well, sorry world, but there's only one Amanda Kaufman, and I'm done with like copying anybody else. I just owned it. Now, there's certain processes that I would argue are kind of more like principal processes, like I always teach MTFC, meet people. You got to meet people, and every day you got to meet people, but like how you do it, that's up to you, boo. You need to talk to people. So one of the reasons why I do these live streams, like no one taught me to broadcast, exactly this way on exactly these topics at exactly this time. This was decisions I made that suited the kind of connection I wanted to have. So like yeah, exactly. Spring nailed it. She said, if your clients value you, they're way more likely to get results working with you. 1,000%. And it's like, it's not just valuing you too. It's like the connection that you have together. I call my private coaching co-created action coaching, because it's like we together come up with what your best solution is. I want to finish that model because I know some of you have that open loop in your brain. What does she teach? Meet people, talk to people, fit with people, coach the people. Okay. So if you're on Instagram, you can DM me the word guide later and I'll send you the guide to MTFC. If you're on the Facebook, you can leave a comment. I'll send it over. No worries. MTFC to get the guide. Okay. So I promised you 3 things that we were going to talk about. And so here's how you can just start attracting clients that really feel aligned to you, right? Without feeling like you have to do something crazy. Excuse me, coffee moment. P.S. Side quest. It says, that's what she said, right? That's what quote she. I totes my goats bought this for my husband and stole it. So if you're a gifter stealer, I'm guilty. I love this mug. It's one of my favorites. Okay. So that actually has a lot to do with step number 1, which is clarify your ideal client. By the way, Instagram, can you tell me, like, is this actually clear? Right? Is this actually clear? Donna, I got you. I'm going to just like write down your name so I remember to Donna G. I'll make sure I send that over to you later. Okay. Okay. So clarify your ideal client. So when people talk to me about clarifying their ideal client, I mean, how many of you have heard that before and you're like, wah, wah. I get it. No, but maybe you haven't done it this way. So I was told, like, are you a business coach? Are you a fitness coach? Are you a wealth manifestation coach? And like people would ask me who I was. And actually, it doesn't matter who I am. It matters who you are. Right? Because if your client doesn't care about manifestation, why would you be a manifestation coach if your perfect client is not into that? Or if your perfect client is 1,000% into manifestation and you're all science, nerdy science, then that's not probably going to connect in the same way, right? So I literally made a wish list of who are people that I find fun, enjoyable, that I like to connect with. And so I call this like the psychographics. So if you get into some more advanced marketing training, they call this psychographics. And so psychographics are more like, how do people commonly think? So something that you could do is you could list down like, well, what are some of your top highest values? And if you want to share your values, I'd love to know what they are, because like, probably me too. One of my first values is integrity. And for me, like, because it's such a high value, like when I say integrity, I mean, I love working with people who do their level best to do what they say they're going to do, and that they're authentic. And if they run into a challenge with following through on the thing they said they were going to do, they're the kind of person who's honest about that, and that they're going to be reflective, and they're going to see what they need to do differently in the future so they can honor that commitment. Like, to me, that's what integrity actually means, right? So when you clarify with lots more specificity, it's so good. Like, I hear a lot of new coaches, they're like, okay, well, I want to coach rich people. And it's like, okay, wait, hang on. No, what you're talking about is the qualification to work with you, right? So they need to have the ability to pay, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily rich. And it doesn't mean necessarily that rich people are going to want coaching, right? Your ideal client, what is it that they are struggling with? What is it that they're struggling with, right? So there you go. Like, Spring, you're on this, and you've been such a great community member for years. Like, she knows. So she says her clients are small business owners who don't want to be lonely and like to have fun. Isn't that great? I love it. So what are the goals of your ideal client? What is it that they want? What they really, really want? And here's the thing. Did you know that most people are super cagey about sharing what they want? Right? Like, tell me if you ever struggle with this. We've got the holidays coming up. My hubby goes to me, "Hey, Amanda, what do you want for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Er." And it's not that I don't want something for Christmas. It's that I want like the world on a platter. I'm an ambitious person. I've got so many irons in the fire. I've got so many. So when you ask me like, what do I want? I'm burying the lead. I'm like, and then you layer on top of that, maybe your value system is such that it's like, I don't want to tell my husband what I want exactly because I want to tell him what I like, and I want to leave it up to him because I think creativity is important and I'm going to love anything that he gives me, blah, 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 blah. Do you go through that whole crisis like every single end of year? Because I do. And so when you're like, well, what do people want? Why are people not telling me directly on social media what they want? I'm like, well, if I'm not able to tell my husband, like one of the most intimate relationships in my entire life, what I actually want for Christmas, then it's like, no wonder, people actually have a hard time articulating this. So I like to follow the clues. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little, cause you're here, you're live, you care. So when you want to know, like, what is it that people are really struggling with, follow their wallet. Follow their wallet. So what do I mean by that? Okay. So you've established, like, for example, you want to work with business owners. Great. Amazing. What are those business owners buying? And what are they proud of buying? So ask them, like, so what's a book you bought recently, or what's a program you enrolled in recently, or what's an investment that you just made recently that you're excited about? So follow their wallet. The other thing is, like, what do they need to feel seen and understood? I struggled with this for a long time, you guys, because and I'll be honest about this, till like as honest as I can be, because I know how painful it is to be like so socially awkward and like in IRL, in real life, socially awkward, and then to try to go online, like I'm getting belly flops just remembering how that felt. And so when you're in your head and you're thinking like, why is somebody not going to want to hang out with me? Oh, that's the worst. Like, that's a bad habit. We need to get rid of that. So stop trying to speak with everybody. Instead, really, like, when it comes to your ideal client, what do you love to talk about with them? And that's like awesome, because you're going to be talking about it every single day for like years. I got great advice from one of my mentors. He said, whatever you pursue, make sure that you're willing to talk about it every single day for 3 years. And I was like, amazing. I like business. I like talking about connection. I like talking about how to build professional relationships. Let's go. Okay. So next piece, and this is what got me out of my head. You got to speak from your heart instead. Okay. I know, who loves cheese? I love cheese. I had a cheesy omelet this morning. I love cheese. So let's talk about it. I for sure jumped out into the entrepreneurial world trying to like intellectualize everything. And the thing is that is exciting to a very small select part of the world, and not necessarily the people that I want to connect with. So I had to really learn to speak from my heart. There's there's truth, and this is one reason I really like sciencey stuff, is because I like validated truth. I love studies. You know, I shared on my stories just this past weekend. Did you know that for people who walk, adults who walk 2.5 hours a week, they decrease their likelihood of experiencing depression by 25%? I don't know, man. Like, there's something about the specificity of those kinds of statistics that just, I love it. I love it. Oh, I lost my connection. Here we go. We're back. Okay. But that's only part of truth, right? Because if you're not speaking from your heart, then your interpretation of truth is like missing. You know, your interpretation, your emphasis is really heart-based, you know? And so people can really tell whether you're full of baloney or whether you're full of cheese. I'm just going to go off the Wi-Fi and see if that helps, because hopefully it's not hurting my Facebook. Okay, so people can tell if you're fake, right? So, and you can tell, like, you can tell, right? Tell me you can tell. So what I found was super helpful and really, really important is that I share real stories. And I'm going to give you a pro little tip on this. The dumb little stories that you think don't matter are exactly the ones you should tell. Because the goal with storytelling is connection and conveying understanding. Remember, we talked about that with the ideal client. So what stories do you have that meet a person where they really are today? The second thing that I think is really important is to share what is important to you values-wise. So like I said, I love, integrity is important to me. Follow through is really important to me. Just relationships are really important to me. So when you're really clear about that and you can communicate that, family is really important to me. I heard an influencer the other day posted, there's no such thing as balance, or if you go for balance, then you sacrifice greatness. And I'm like, agree to disagree, buddy, because I know that whatever I create on this earth, the relationships I create with my family are the ones that are going to ripple past my career, past their career, into their next closest relationships. I'm crazy clear. And maybe it's just like greatness for me is also family. So like, if you can tell that and share that, people who are like, Amanda, I want the hustle life. I want to avoid all my problems through working really, really hard. And I'm gonna not be okay with ever being quiet. I'm like sharing values with you right now, right? You got to share, like, what do you care about? And I've been so scared to do that, and it's still something that I wrestle with. I thought, for example, this year, that start putting my Christmas tree up on like the 2nd of November was the funniest and most amazing thing since sliced bread. Like, I just thought that was so great. It was such a point of joy in my life. But I definitely had the thought, who cares? Right? And I was like, well, maybe you care. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you've got something that's like really little or kind of quirky and odd that if you just shared it more, people would find something else to fall in love with you. Right? So I basically made a commitment in speaking from my heart to just like stop hiding my quirks. Stop hiding that I like reading. Stop hiding that I think it's hilarious when people start a new project and it looks terrible, right? I love the whole meme hashtag nailed it, right? Like, it's awesome. I love it. I love growth. Third big idea is to focus more on the connection versus the perfection of what you do, right? Yeah, Lisa's like, yes to the trees. I appreciate it. That's so good. So look, I mean, I get the stress of perfect, but I really want to offer you like a reframe for that. And the reframe is that you want connections before perfection. And the thing I try to really remind myself is evaluate what happened after, not before. So perfection is basically judgment, and you're judging like the quality of something or the effectiveness of something before you did it, before you have the data. So I want you to know that like perfection is really just obsession with one particular perspective. That's what perfection is. It's obsession with one particular perspective. And I don't know about you, but I would rather be somebody who's open-minded, someone who's willing to learn, someone who's willing to be open to other viewpoints. That's really important to me. And especially in today's day and age, you know, like recently with all the political stuff that's going on, I think the thing that's hardest about it is people had this pre-view before the election of what would be perfect. And depending on what happened, their emotional response just like really followed that because they were super attached to that one view of a possibility. One other reason like why people are so connected to this idea of perfectionism and perfectionism in relationships is because they're scared of feedback. I know I was scared like, well, what if I'm not doing a 10 out of 10 on this live stream? What if I'm not doing 10 out of 10 on my emails? What if I'm not doing 10 out of 10 in my coaching programs? And look, if someone says something to you, it's feedback. And I've got a whole loop that I teach my clients. We don't have time because we're wrapping up here, but maybe sometime I'll come back and I'll tell you about my feedback loop process, because if you just realize it is feedback, you can then go through a process of whether you want to integrate that feedback or whether you don't. And that's up to you 110%. I think the biggest thing to understand that is as a coach, your job is to connect. Your job is to connect with like their goal, the person, their values, their struggles, their aspirations, like all of it. That's your goal. So if you remember that, you can release the perfectionism and you can get better and better over time. Last big idea. I know I said I had 3, but I think that mentorship really did help me a lot. And I've built a lot of tools and a lot of things along the way. And I've been working on this membership. If you've been following me on my social, you might have seen me mention like my membership's taking longer to put together than I wanted. And I was like, you know what? I finished the sales page draft this weekend. It is entirely too long. It's amazing. But I just thought I'd tell you because you're here, you're live. If you DM me the words early bird, I'll put you on the first notification list for when the membership is ready for enrollment. And that's when you're going to get the absolute best deal for this membership. And by the way, if you're in my Courageous Coach Club membership, you are grandfathered in. But if you want all the details about what this is, DM me the word early bird. It's an insane add-on if you're already a client. Like I've made sure it's very independent of my private coaching, of my experts network. But it's also a really great place to grow if you're still exploring your options about what you want to do with your coaching business. And this is the community that didn't exist, but I wished existed after I'd invested over $10,000 in my first certification. You know, it's affordable. It's updated for 2024, 25. So yes, it's the community I wish that I could have, but then it's like better because we're going to be covering some things with AI and, you know, the advantages that we now have that we did not have back when I started. So I'm really excited about this membership refresh. If you happen to be interested in getting the details first on list, just DM me the word early bird and I'll make sure to send that to you. Okay, so remember, you know, you do not have to chase clients. You do not have to chase clients, and you don't have to feel like that little duckling that's searching for its mama. The key is to focus on connections. You probably have the connected relationship with your next 5 clients already without posting a single next thing to social media. I can confidently say that. And the reason I can confidently say that is because that's what I did. I had 8 names on a Post-it. And I had no idea like if they were even going to really support my business, but that's what I had to work with. And I used the 8 to grow and grow and grow. And between the different strategies that I've used, I have built over 19,000 connections passed on their contact information and all of that kind of thing for follow-up. And then I recently did a tally. I think we're over 15,000 followers on our various channels on social media, which is bananas because we started with 8. Okay. And the first couple of years, I didn't even go online. I didn't even have social media at all because I was so scared of it. So I really want you to know that you probably are already connected to your next 5 clients. They're either a friend or a friend of a friend. And you've got this. I'm here to support you every step of the way. I'm going to be back here at 9 a.m. next week, but also on Fridays, I do a Q&A post. So if you have burning questions that you'd love me to respond to for free, make sure you check my stories on Fridays. And we had some really great questions this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. If you would like to have coffee with me, all I ask is you pay for my favorite coffee. And then you can sit down with me one-on-one and we'll do some coaching together. Just DM me the word coffee and we'll work on your messaging, what you need to do to attract those next clients, and even if you don't have any social media set up. And we will see you very soon.